two packages now. Check with Sunny. Are we okay, Sunny? Now, Doug.
AP teachers first, yeah.
And I'm thinking
that's my mistake. I forgot to make that change, but we can do that.
And maybe we could do maybe we could go 3, 4, 1, 2 or something.
Yeah,
because we want because of the group.
We'll do.
The December 17th regular meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County is hereby called to order. We will achieve our vision of student success through our mission. We will create an innovative educational environment that allows and inspires success for everyone. Leading us in the pledge to our flag today, I'm going to invite Kim Sheehan because she is on the agenda. I like to surprise people, Kim, just so you know. But Kim's on the agenda later for some recognition. So, Kim, if you would please come and lead us in the pledge, and if you all would please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In case I accidentally said December 17th and was thinking towards the weekend, it's actually December 14th for the record. Thank you. Dr. Whitaker, do we have any additions or corrections to tonight's agenda?
Not tonight, no.
All right. Then we will move on to the reports section, which is what our gallery of people is here for. So reports, Mr. Superintendent.
We have 4 reports this evening, and I'm going to ask if you'll join me down front, and then we'll call the folks up in order. If for those of you who have an agenda, 3, 4, 1, 2 in that order. Advanced Placement Instructor Recognitions. Kathy Gerald, if you'd come to the podium, please. I know it wasn't, but it... That's the second surprise of the evening. So now everybody after this is going to be nervous. Gail's already sweating back there. That's
Chinese time. Okay. Oh, Lord. Good evening. Dr. Whitaker, school board members, Mrs. Young. With national attention focused on increased rigor in the curriculum, the Advanced Placement Program sponsored by the College Board serves as an outstanding example of high academic expectations. Students who choose to participate in the AP program have the opportunity to earn college credit or advanced standing at most of the nation's colleges and universities. As part of the new high school grading system, high schools have been challenged to guarantee that all of their students are college ready by the time they graduate. Students enrolled in AP classes prove that they are not only college ready at graduation, but they can be successful in college classes while they are still enrolled in high school. Enrollment in AP classes demonstrates a student's willingness to take the most rigorous courses available at the high school level and emphasizes a student's commitment to academic excellence. Currently, Charlotte County Public Schools offers 18 of the 34 courses that are available through the College Board. What makes these opportunities possible for our students is surely the commitment of our teachers to challenge themselves as well as their students. Teachers who teach advanced placement classes provide the academic footprint for their students' future college success. Charlotte County Public Schools has established a reputation for excellence in AP performance. For the last 3 years, Charlotte County Public Schools has ranked in the top 3 districts in the state of the percentage of students receiving a 3 or higher in AP scores. Tonight we recognize the teachers who are facilitating the classroom environment, which is the foundation for this outstanding achievement. And I'm going to ask the principals to come up and to introduce their teachers and to award their certificates, beginning with Mr. Duffy, Charlotte High School.
Thank you, Ms. Gerald. It's always a pleasure to showcase the great things that are happening at Charlotte High School, and it's with great pleasure and pride that I introduce some of the talent that we have at Charlotte High School in the way of our teachers. As I call your name, please come forward. Ms. Gail Tidwell, English Language Comp, English Lit Comp. Miss Amy Beisner, Government and Politics. Mr. Rick Weston, U.S. History and European History. Miss Whitney Swift, World History. Mr. Jason Wickman, Environmental Science. Miss Andrea McCampbell, Human Geography. And it is a busy time of the education season, and 2 of our teachers could not be with us, but I'd like to recognize them, Miss Diane Benson, Calculus, and Miss Renee Masolio, Studio Art 2D. Thank you.
Next, with the busy time of year, our administrators, as we know, our leaders are spread between many activities, and we're going to be recognizing the teachers from Lemon Bay. Lemon Bay had 3 teachers: Colin Ramsey, World History, who could not attend tonight because of a prior commitment; Virginia Vivona, English Language and Composition, also could not attend; and I would like to recognize Bonnie Powell, English Literature. And finally, but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce Karen Laporta, who's representing Steve Dionisio, to recognize the teachers of Port Charlotte High School.
Hello, everyone. Yes, the teachers are the ones that actually make the difference with our kids, and we're very proud of them. They work so hard, and I wish they were all here. So not here, I'm going to begin with Lillian DeWitt for teaching calculus at Port Charlotte High School. Also not able to attend, Don Hellenbeck with physics. Saving that one. And Tiffany Coffey is our studio art teacher. Amazing work. Now joining us this evening, we have our human geography teacher, AP teacher, Bert Cass. We also have our English language comp and English literature comp AP teacher, Dr. Eric Bishop.
The next presenter is Mr. Rick Duckworth, our Distinguished Director of Transportation and Guru of the Master Fitness Award.
I have an undeserved reputation for being lengthy in my presentations, and so this one is intentionally short. In June of 2006, Charlotte County Public Schools adopted a wellness policy. Come on, it's only 4 years worth of history. This policy gave students and employees a way of living life healthier, good nutrition, and a healthy lifestyle. The district recognized that in order for us to be effective team members, we needed to be fit, mentally, emotionally, and physically. It's too early to be sighing, John. 3 years ago, we initiated a method to help our employees assess their physical well-being, the Master Fitness Challenge. Using the same tools as the Armed Services and following similar measurements of the Presidential Fitness Challenge, members of the district could compare themselves to a set standard and evaluate their individual levels of physical fitness. We used the push-up, bent leg sit-up, and a walk, run, or bicycle aerobic event to determine where we are and, in a lot of cases, where we need to go to achieve physical wellness. Each event, based on age and number of repetitions, was awarded a certain number of points. This year's event was made particularly special because the Lemon Bay baseball team joined us and joined the district members at the event. Based on the results, it would appear that the challenge of these outstanding student athletes may have inspired the more mature adults to even better performance than in previous years. Tonight, we recognize the achievements of 19 people who met the standards of the Master Fitness Challenge, earning between 220 and 239 points out of a possible 300, and thereby gaining the coveted Bronze Master Fitness Patch. We have, thank you, let's try that again, thereby earning the coveted Bronze Master Fitness Patch, Chantel Phillips in her first appearance at the Master Fitness Challenge. Ms. Barbara Mellinson. Next year. The distinguished Dr. Doug Whitaker. And Adrian McElroy. She didn't make it tonight. Okay. Earning 240 to 259 points out of a possible 300 and the prestigious Silver Master Fitness Badge, Michelle Reitzman. Miss Delenn Bennett. Miss Nancy Ahrensberger. Take it close? Close. And Mr. Rick Sheets. Mr. Sheets brought his wife along too, and she did participate. And from Lemon Bay High School baseball team, Mr. Jimmy Spugen. Which is hard to do. Congratulations. Mr. Chris Anders. The 2 miles was rough. And Mr. Richie Photo. earning between 260 and 279 out of a possible 300 points, and getting the very distinguished and eloquent gold Master Fitness badge. Dr. Donna Widmeyer. Who is continuing her tradition of gold. I finally got a gold. And again, from the Lemon Bay baseball team, Mr. Chris Lamar. And finally, the creme de la creme, the standard by which all others measure themselves. Those outstanding individuals who average better than 93 points in each event, who earn 280 to 300 points, our gold medal winners. Mr. Greg Herlane, in his very first appearance, real gold. Yeah, there's your pay raise. Mr. Dan McIntosh. And unfortunately, he couldn't join us today, but in his very best performance in 3 years, Dr. Dave Gaylor. And this year we had 2 people who earned a perfect 300 points. Miss Kathy Foley and the other McElroy, Matt. It was a good time. I won't do the weather was crisp and the fog was rising from the grass bit, but I really hope to see everybody out there again. Now that we've got the students involved, it's an even better time, and thank you very much for your time.
I'm going to ask Kathy Gerald to come back to the podium for our next recognition, the NCTE SLATE Affiliate Intellectual Freedom Award.
Dr. Whitaker, board members, Mrs. Young. It is with great pleasure that tonight we are recognizing one of our very talented and dedicated teachers, Kim Sheehan. Kim is the Curriculum Instruction Specialist for Secondary Language Arts, Reading, and ELL. Kim epitomizes the 3 R's in modern education: rigor, relevance, and relationships, is being the key in increasing student success. Kim is currently participating in an action research project to promote real and relevant writing, working with nationally known author Jimmy Baca. In this project, students in intensive reading classes at Port Charlotte and Charlotte High School met with the author and engaged in writing activities centering on real-world experiences. The sophistication and creativity that was reflected in the writing by our supposedly striving students was truly amazing. In addition, Kim has been involved in the National Writing Project, which provides high-quality professional development for our language arts and reading teachers. These workshops have supported the continued growth of our FCAT, of our students in their FCAT writing assessments. Last summer, Kim was instrumental in bringing renowned reading specialist Janet Allen to our district for a summer institute attended by over 150 of our secondary teachers. This experience enhanced our secondary teachers' instructional skills in the area of reading. Kim spends much of her time in our classroom conducting book talks with students in a variety of subject disciplines. Her primary objective is to promote an appreciation and a love of reading in all of our students. In November, Kim was awarded the 2010 Intellectual Freedom Award by the Florida Council of Teachers of English. This award honors individuals who merit recognition for advancing the cause of intellectual freedom and academic learning. Congratulations, Kim, and thank you for all you do to enrich our students' learning experiences. Now I have to pick it up.
Board members, our fourth report tonight is coming from Gail Buck and Dr. Donna Widmeyer, Florida Healthy School District Award presentation.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Dr. Whitaker, school board members. We're very excited this evening to be able to inform you that Charlotte County is a very healthy district, and we are only getting healthier every single day. Last year, when Gail Buck was the chairman of the School Health Advisory Committee, and I continue to serve as the chair of the Student Wellness Committee, we had a self-assessment to do that was brought to us by the Department of Education. We worked in conjunction also with Terry Whitaker and also with Jackie Speak, who also were very instrumental in finishing our self-assessment. Gail headed up the self-assessment, got everybody to make sure that they filled out everything that needed to be filled out. I sent it off, and lo and behold, we are a leader in the state because we have a well-established infrastructure and component areas of strength. And it is based on an overall score, and we received at the silver level last year. There were no districts that got gold. We, however, are going to be striving for that gold. And you know those little monthly wellness updates you receive from me? That's part of it this year. So we're looking forward to that. So I'd like to ask Gail to say a few words, and she's going to present the award to Ms. Messina.
Thank you, Dr. Widmeyer. As one of 16 school districts to achieve this honor, and on behalf of the Coordinated School Health Partnership and Florida Action for Healthy Kids, it is our great pleasure to present to you the Florida Healthy School District Award.
It does, and it's not framed, but it's suitable for framing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Donna and Gail.
Okay, moving on. Mr. Superintendent, do we have any old business this evening?
No, we do not.
Then we shall move to new business, the consent agenda.
I recommend board approval of the consent agenda as presented to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the action agenda, item F2A, the annual audit of internal accounts. Mr. Superintendent.
I'm going to ask Mr. Benji Dees to come to the podium and present to the board a summary of the annual audit of internal accounts.
Welcome, Mr. Dees. It's always good to see you.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Whitaker. I'm here this evening to present to you the Independent Auditor's Report for the Charlotte County Public Schools Internal Funds for the year ending June 30th, 2010. The reports that you have contain the recorded cash receipts and disbursements from the internal funds of all 21 schools. You have the recommendations and comments on each individual school. You have a combined statement of the recorded cash receipts and disbursements for all of the schools, and in the very back you have the management letter that is addressed to the district as a whole. Each school received a report on their individual school's internal funds activity. We conducted an exit conference with each school's bookkeeper, each principal, and Randy Wiley from your district office attended all of those exit conferences. Within that exit conference, we discussed each individual school's, their own individual school's financial activity and their recommendations and comments regarding their particular school. Each principal and bookkeeper were very positive and very receptive during this discussion and very open to any ideas or concerns that we had. We then had an exit conference with Dr. Whitaker and members of his staff, and at that exit conference we discussed all the individual schools. We looked at the financial activity, we reviewed the summary sheet that you have within your packet, the highlights from each individual school's recommendations and comments, and we also looked at the management letter in which we talked about the segregation of duties comment that we had concerns with, or at least areas of expressing that we need to look at and make sure we're aware of. We continue throughout the process to see improvements in all the schools throughout the system. For the year of June 30th, 2010, we had 5 schools that had no recommendations or comments at all, and again, that's a very great achievement for those individual schools, and we congratulate them on that. If you have any specific questions or concerns, I'll be glad to address them at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Dees? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Superintendent.
Before I make my recommendation this evening, I would like to point out there were 5 schools/departments that had perfect audits, and would like to recognize the bookkeepers at each of those schools. It is not an easy thing to do. At Charlotte Harbor Center, Lisa Fleeman had a perfect audit. At Port Charlotte High School, and getting a perfect audit at a high school is really a challenge. Really a challenge. Tracy Bellino at Port Charlotte Middle School, Ronnie Fiedler. At Myakka River Elementary School, again, Alma Childers. And at the Adult Center, Education Center, Barbara Lowe, who is now retired. But thanks to these 5 bookkeepers for doing a terrific job. And I'd also like to recognize the work of Randy Wiley this evening. Randy's been with us, 3 years? 3 years. And since he's been in the district, our internal audit reports have much improved over that period of time. He's diligent in being out and being available. He asks questions. They ask questions of him. He helps coach, advise, cajole, hold hands. He was a real help for our bookkeepers, and has become a real go-to person for them. And he's had a real positive impact in the improvement of our internal audit report. So I want to thank Randy tonight for his work. That said, I would like to recommend that the board accept the audit of internal accounts for the school year ending June 30th, 2010.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the annual audit of internal accounts. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the Charlotte Local Education Foundation Audit Report, and I see members of CLEF out there in the audience.
Yes,
Mrs.
they are
Gissendaner
present.
and Mrs. Lewis. And
I'm going to ask Mary Fred Clemens to come to the podium and any of the members of the board that choose to accompany her. If you would come to the podium, and Mary Fred, if you would introduce our guest, please.
Thank you. Dr. Whitaker, Madam Chairman, School Board, and Ms. Young. I want to introduce Betty Gissendaner. She is the treasurer of the Charlotte Local Education Foundation, and she will present the financial information tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. I'd like to just say pretty much ditto to what Benji just said. Unfortunately, the numbers don't match. Madam Chair, honorable members of the school board, Superintendent Whitaker, and Mrs. Young, the Charlotte Local Education Foundation appreciates the opportunity to partner with you in the day-to-day pursuits to support public education. On behalf of our board of directors, thank you for the work that you do to make our schools some of the best performing throughout the state and our students the nation's highest achievers. As outlined in our bylaws, I present to you the 2011 budget and audit. We'll talk about the budget first, if that would be acceptable to you. Despite these austere times, we have committed to a rather ambitious budget of $208,321. It may not be necessary to go over every item. However, I do want to call your attention to the following income sources. Our in-kind, especially when we look at our relationship with Charlotte County Public Schools, occupancy and supplies totaling $24,000. It is a pass-through. And the fact that you house our executive director, our support staff, and our programs. Thank you very much. We would not be able to ever express our appreciation for the in-kind services of Webb Laura, who continues to do our financial tracking and bookkeeping, and we really appreciate that as an in-kind. They also handle our tax filing. There are other pass-throughs that you'll notice on the budget that comes through United Way and also through Charlotte County Public Schools through the various grants that pass through us and is passed on to the program intendee. Fundraising is a big part of what we do. The aggressive efforts of our executive director, Mary Fred Clemens, and the board of directors, including our premier annual event, the Teacher of the Year, Support Employee of the Year, Toy Soy. We also involve direct and indirect solicitation. You'll notice, too, that we have contributions in membership from Take Stock in Children, and that has been boosted because we have exceeded the state requirements, and that's a real positive for us. We're members of a consortium. Our executive director writes grants, and these grants not only help us with our programs, but they also provide us the income to run our premier program, Take Stock in Children. We also have the support of license plates that say support education that passes through to us as income, and many of the employees of Charlotte County Public School are very generous in their payroll support. So our sources of income totaling $208,321 is pretty much laid out before you. I would tell you that our expenses track pretty much with our income, the benefits and payroll for our executive director and our support staff. Our Hallmark program, Take Stock in Children, involves not only the purchase of scholarships on an annual basis, and this year we'll be purchasing 10, our mentors and the program operation, along with our board expenses. If you have questions, I'm prepared to answer them on our budget. Otherwise, I would ask you to approve our budget.
Questions on the CLEF budget? would you like us to take these as two separate items as she's requesting, or do you want to just make it as one?
We'll make it one. I'll
Okay.
make one recommendation.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead and go with the audit.
Thank you. You have had the opportunity to look at the audit. It is the official audit for the period ending fiscal year June 30th, 2010. The audit was done by Sam Saunders and Catherine Ibbotson of Summers, Horner, Daughtry, and Westby in Punta Gorda. The independent auditor's report and the accompanying letter indicates that the auditors found no violations, no possible violations, that's a good thing, of any laws or regulations and our contract provisions. It goes on to say that there are no liens or encumbrances on our duly titled assets. The audit was conducted to meet generally accepted auditing standards and also government audit standards. Page 3 shows our assets and our liabilities, and it is further explained on page 9 and page 10. Page 10 also describes our prepaid scholarships, which are designated but not paid until they are earned by the students in school. We presently have 50 contracts, students, and that includes the wages board contracts. Our audit does not show a 3-year comparison because it was just 2 years ago that we began to show the value of our prepaid contracts. But starting in the 2011 audit, you will begin to see a 3-year analysis. If there are questions, I'm prepared to answer them. Otherwise, I ask you to approve our audit.
Any questions for Mrs. Gissendale? All right, Mr. Superintendent, do we have a recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
I am recommending the approval of the CLEF operating budget for 2011 and the audit for the year ending June 30th, 2010.
Move approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the Charlotte Local Education Foundation audit report and budget 2011. Is there any board discussion? Yeah, I would just like to say the first few years, most of us were on the board when CLEF became a direct support organization. And I remember the early audits, and I remember asking the question about the in-kind from having the executive director located here, and it was never in the audit before. So I appreciate over the years how you've come to recognize the contributions of the school district, because we certainly appreciate the contributions that you all make to us. So thank you for the work that you do. Any other board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, F2C, the Health Services Plan. Mr. Superintendent.
I'm recommending board approval of the School Health Services Plan presented to you.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the School Health Services Plan as presented. Is there any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item, 2011-2012 school calendars. Mr. Superintendent.
I am recommending board approval, and this is always a big event. People wait to see what the new calendar will be. But I am recommending board approval of the proposed 2010-2011 regular and year-round school calendars.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the 2011-2012 regular and school year-round calendars. Mr. Swift.
Mrs. Melnson, we had talked about a possible change for the last Tuesday in January, and the version I've got doesn't show that, so I just wanted to know how we were handling that.
Asterisk down there stating that there may be a change in the calendar based on the date of the election in January. Once we find out what that date is, we have a couple of choices. Okay. Probably what we'll do is move the October 11th in-service day down to whichever day the election is held. When you and I had talked last week, I believe they had not really set up what the date was. So rather than really confuse things, I thought we would just leave it like it is. And then once we get that date, then we can bring it. But
I'm sorry, I was looking up in the body of the
right.
calendar
That's
for the
okay.
asterisk.
I understand.
And
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it at the bottom. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Rendell.
And Mrs. Melnson,
Yes.
I had asked for a for August, we have August 1st, first day of teacher, but we don't have August whatever for first day of students.
Oh, my goodness. That's August the 8th.
Okay, that's what I thought, but
Yeah,
still.
I'm sorry,
you know,
yeah. I had noticed that
make that real
myself.
clear.
Thank you.
I had several of you had
Indeed it is.
several of you had mentioned that in our meeting, so I was going to ask Mrs. Melanson to make sure when that goes public and
Absolutely.
goes out, that be designated on
Sure
this
will.
coming year's calendar.
Thank you.
All right. Any further conversation, discussion? I just want to make a notation that the Charlotte County school calendar is different from other schools across the state, and frequently people ask that question, and it is because we're a high-performing district, and we are allowed some flexibility with our dates where other counties who don't have that designation don't have the same flexibility. So I just wanted to get that on the record. Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, and Mrs. Melanson, we're going to trust you to make that correction for us. Next item on the agenda is item E, the ratification of the CFEA and the CCSPA. Gotta get them right. Contracts. Mr. Superintendent.
I'm glad Mrs. Melanson didn't walk all the way to the back of the room, because I am going to ask her to come to the podium and address the board briefly on this agenda item. And then we also have the presidents of both units here tonight. They may choose to have comments. I'm not sure.
Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Whitaker, and Attorney Young. I'm pleased to present for your consideration the Charlotte, Florida Education Association and the Charlotte County Support Personnel Association contracts that have been ratified by our support staff and teachers. We reviewed the salary, the insurance, and the contract language for these 2-year agreements at your school board workshop on November 23rd. These contracts were negotiated through the interest-based bargaining process and contain increases for both units, which we believe is the right thing to do for our employees who have continued to work diligently to create and maintain Charlotte County's designation as a high-performing school district. Of particular importance is the new language in both contracts that provides for a budget advisory committee with representatives from the unions, other employee groups, and district staff. The committee has been meeting and will continue to meet on a monthly basis or even more frequently as needed. There's a possibility of a significant revenue shortfall in the coming year. In that event, the Budget Advisory Committee will be responsible for monitoring the budget and making recommendations to the superintendent. These recommendations could include finding new sources of revenue, looking for savings in existing programs, across-the-board salary adjustments. However, the last option, the worst case, would be a reduction in force. I want to thank the district and employee members of both bargaining teams. I appreciate their dedication and willingness of these individuals to work together collaboratively to come to consensus on these 2 contracts. It wasn't always easy, but I believe these contracts are an excellent example of how our system in Charlotte County works. Are there any questions?
Mrs. Reynolds.
Will the, when I access this on my computer, I see that the very first page it says new section of contract for both units. Will that page be in the actual contract that is handed out to our employees, or how it is on the website? That page specifically, so when you open it up, you'll see right away that this is a new section. Rather than just tucking it away in it, will that be?
It will be a new section. We haven't really sat down yet. Once it's been ratified, I'll meet with John and Bobby, and we'll start adding things into the contract.
So if when you hand out a book to someone, they're used to just, they don't know the new parts of it. So to have this, just like you have it here, I think is an important,
Okay.
Of course, it's not up to me to say,
All
but
right.
I mean, just as a suggestion, I think, just to point it out to employees that this is a big deal, I think. I think
It is,
the
it's
The
huge.
BAC is
Yes.
huge, and I'm wondering if there are any other districts in the state who even do such a thing. I mean, is there a committee who's active like this and makes decisions like this? And
We're
has
not
been a
sure,
contract?
not that I have noted. I don't know if John has seen any in his dealings with other districts, but I've not noted any in the districts that I'm with. But that's a good idea, Ms. Rendell. We'll make sure that we do highlight that, because this is really we think just a phenomenal process.
If I may, when John and Chuck and I went to Washington in October, there were 36 districts, John? 35 districts from around the country, most of whom were involved to some degree in the interest-based process and collaborative problem solving. A handful were there because they were in such trouble, they came to find out whatever they could about how to begin to work collaboratively. And as John said, some of the superintendents and union presidents commented that they had never spent so much time together as they did on the airplane flight out to the conference. There was that little communication. But in listening to the stories of the many districts in the breakout sessions we were in, nobody talked about having any kind of advisory body when it came to budgetary matters. So I think it is genuinely unique.
Superintendent's recommendation.
I recommend acceptance of the ratification of the Charlotte Florida Education Association and the Charlotte County Support Employees Association bargaining agreements and the 2011 health insurance rates.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ratification of the CFEA and CCSPA contracts and the 2011 health insurance rates. Before we have board discussion, Mr. Klinovic, did you want to say something?
Madam Chair, school board members, Dr. Whitaker. For the record, my name is John Klenovic. I currently serve as the duly elected representative of Charlotte County's classroom teachers. On November the 18th, the Charlotte County teachers voted 791 to 66 to approve the negotiated agreement. That's obviously a big number. It's about 90% approval. There were three things in this contract that were very important, we believe, to the members. Mrs. Rendell, that I assure you that our members do know about BAC, they knew about PACE, and they know about a long-standing grievance that has been a very important item for all of our teachers. What this agreement does is address all three. What Mrs. Mellinson didn't spend a lot of time on, she has taken the lead in the PACE program, which is an evaluation system that we believe is very important for tying performance to compensation for our employees, which enabled us to settle our grievance. It's something that I think our teachers look forward to. Like teachers throughout the state, we have no fear of accountability. We are more than ready to go ahead and be judged on our performance as long as we have a fair, open, and honest system. And we have every bit of confidence that will be developed. We're in the process now. We've started work on that, and we have a deadline of July the 1st. That was a very key part of it. As has been mentioned, a very key part is our Budget Advisory Committee. Something that we are well aware that we have an active voice. We have gone back and looked over the years, and we truly believe that our Employee Benefits Committee functions very well. It's open, it's honest, everything is out there, and we expect the BAC to work the same way. Our teachers know that we can't predict the future. There's two ways to look at things. Whether we're going to have a tough year, who knows? Maybe we're going to have a great year and we're going to need to decide how we're going to spend all that extra money. I don't know. We are prepared. We believe, through how BAC is set up, by the quality of the people we have, that we will address any financial issue that Charlotte County faces. As Mrs. Mellinson mentioned, the most important thing to us is at all costs. We too believe and have long believed the importance of our employees' positions. All of our classes are important. Unlike districts throughout the state of Florida, we will not sit back and watch as art, music, electives are thrown on a chopping block for some reason. They're all very important. They're one reason why Charlotte County excels. All that is very important. The BAC will allow us to do that. We'll face things openly. We'll face things honestly, and we believe we truly will handle what comes our way. On behalf of the teachers of Charlotte County, I strongly ask you to go ahead and ratify this very important agreement, which puts us in position to truly move forward. Thank you.
Mr. Ziff, did you want to speak?
Madam Chair, Superintendent Whitaker, school board members. On November 19th, CCSPA ratified their contract, 7, 6, 7, 4, and 50 against. We also realized the importance of the BAC. From what I can at least understand, there is nothing in the state of Florida that will match it. This is a very rare occasion for both units to step up and take part in a piece that has always been, we've always been kept at arm's length. This piece will allow your employees to have a real say in what is going on with the budget in Charlotte County. With that also comes a new it comes a responsibility that I can't speak for the teachers, but for us, it is an incredible responsibility. Are we up to that task? Yes, we are. Will we make sure Charlotte County does the best it can? Yes, we will. Will there be really hard decisions to be made possibly down the road? Yes, there will. Will we be there to do that? Yes, we will. We've given our word and we will keep it. It is imperative that we do work together on all of this. We know for probably for the next few years, this will not be the best of times for schools. Most times when that happens, it falls on support. You're allowed to have a principal and teachers. You don't have to have anybody else if you don't want to. We tend to take the biggest hit when stuff like this happens. I hope we don't. I hope we can work together to mitigate that as much as possible. In order for this to work, the unions need to take the responsibility and have an open and honest discussion. As in kind, the district needs to be forthcoming with the financial information. We cannot, and we cannot afford to, show up with a $3 million extra in September. We need to know all the numbers as we go along, or this committee will lose its face and will not be as powerful as it needs to be. I do hope you all understand that. I hope you do vote for this contract. And my respects to you all.
Board discussion. Mr. Vincent.
I just want to say, I'm kind of the new guy and new at all this, but the impressive part about what's happened with this whole thing is you haven't heard anyone say this side or that side. It's been amazing to me that what we have here, it truly is collaborative, and I'm just really impressed with the way that everybody's come together to come up with this agreement. So good job, everybody.
Thank you. Mr. Swift.
My congratulations to the parties involved. I know that our collaborative model differs from the other districts in the state that are using it, some that have used it longer than we have. And each model tends to reflect the characteristics and character of the district and of the people involved. And what you folks have been able to accomplish this year sets a high standard for all of us for coming years. And I hope that we can showcase this process at a later time in the year to the rest of the state, because I think what we are doing is establishing a true model for other districts to adapt to their own use. And I think it wouldn't have happened without the support of Bobby and you, John, as well as your membership. And it's a two-way street. We've got to be in it together. We've got to believe in it. We've got to trust it. We've got to work through the difficult bumps in the road that are going to come, but we've got to trust the process and trust that it will provide a result that is satisfactory. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Any other discussion? I actually, Mr. Swift, as you were speaking, I would acknowledge that getting this to the contract level is probably a reflection of the personalities and the commitment on the people here. But getting it into the contract actually and passing it tonight ensures that it's not going to rely on personalities in the future. And that's really the most important piece here, because now it becomes, now it's embedded. Now there's not a choice. Now it doesn't rely on whether somebody chooses to accept it or not. And that's really the most important piece for me. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? And that motion carries unanimously. Good work, everyone. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the managerial, supervisory, professional, confidential, and administrative salary. Mr. Superintendent.
I request board approval of the managerial, supervisory, professional, confidential, and administrative salary schedules.
So moved.
Second.
All right, it has been moved and seconded that we approved the salary schedules for the other classifications of employees. Is there any board discussion? I think it is important that we are taking this particular item after the two contractual items that we had previously, because it's because of the ratification of the previous contracts that we then look at our next categories of employees. So just wanted to get that on the record. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item is the personnel action and salary schedules. Mr. Superintendent.
I recommend board approval of the personnel action and salary schedules as presented to the board this evening.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded that we approve the personnel action and salary schedules. Any board discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Mrs. Smith, do we have any citizens who wish to speak before the board today? No, ma'am, we do not. Is there anyone in the chamber who would like to speak? Seeing none. Attorney comment. Mrs. Young, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Board member comment, Mrs. Rendell.
Ditto. I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. And thanks for all of the Christmas cards that we get from all the different schools and the departments. There are so many clever ones, very creative, funny, beautiful, and I know that I'm particularly like the technology department really gives us these elaborate ones, and I'm thinking, my gosh. Something like that would have taken me days to create, and they probably whipped it up in 15 minutes or so. So I know I read every one of them. They really help to make the season, makes you get into the season more by reading these cards. And like I say, I do wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see you next year.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes, I'd like to also wish you a happy holidays. Enjoy time with your families. Travel safely, and look forward to a healthy and wonderful new year. Thank you.
A couple things. Number one, last week I got to sit down with Jerry, Richard, Terry, Jean, and Greg, who left.
It's information overload.
Yeah, yeah. It started off as a, hey, I have a quick question, and turned into 3 hours. But I just wanted to, as I've said this a few times to everybody, how impressed I am with how well the people in this district work together. I've seen firsthand the dysfunction that can happen in government, and when I see the way that they seem to generally like each other and want to help, and that is unusual in government. So thank you guys. The other thing, this morning, I'm not sure if everyone knew, but the Board of County Commissioners proclaimed today as Sue Seifert Day. Doug was there, we were at the Board of County Commission meeting. It was a nice presentation to Sue. The thing that surprised me was after the Board of County Commission meeting, there was actually, after Doug left, after the Sue proclamation, the board brought up a motion to allow the school district the 4 reduced price events at the event center.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I didn't even know we got a reduced price at the event center, but apparently they like to give us our 4. We get it for half price of the government rate. Commissioner Skidmore made a friendly addendum to the motion and said, you know what, that was built for our community. Our schools are part of this community. We need to, going back, a big part of Sue's thing was she was thanking the board for being working so well with the district. I think the county government and the district, we do get along pretty well. And Skidmore said, or Commissioner Skidmore said, in that same vein, I don't think 4 is enough. He said, I think that we should offer the school district the ability to use our event center for any high school graduation and any high school prom if they want it at that reduced rate, in addition to the 4, because we do Toy Soy there and a few others. There was some discussion. It passed 4-1.
No names, please.
No comment. But I just wanted to kind of publicly give a thanks to the Board of County Commissioners and an individual thank you to Commissioner Skidmore for bringing that up. And happy holidays to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Swift.
Merry Christmas to everyone and a Happy New Year. One of the privileges or perks that I get, if you'll take one and pass them on, as president-elect of the Florida School Board Association, is I can make a request of there's always a photographer there, and I can ask for things and get pictures taken. And what I'm distributing is we were able to get the 4 superintendents of the last 30 years to stand together, and we got a picture of them, and I played with it a little bit today and got some labels and things on it. There's one for everybody. There'll be one to hang here in the boardroom. Dr. Gaylor told me that he asked Max and Bob Bedford to send 8x10 headshots to be placed out in the lobby. I did get, as you know, we took a picture of the 5 of us with everybody, and I will get you that picture in the next couple of days. I just didn't have time to do it today. And again, I've said it before, one of the reasons I think for the tremendous achievement that this district has had over the years has been its stability in leadership at the highest levels. And to only have 4 superintendents in 30 years is a rather remarkable accomplishment in an appointed superintendency system. So we've got that picture, and we'll be displaying it here, and hopefully we can come up with a few more things out of the deep, dark dungeons of the past to display. One last thing, Ms. Young, I'd like you to carry our sympathies and wishes for a better recovery to your father-in-law. I know he's still in the hospital and not doing as well as he should be doing from knee surgery, so if you will tell him how much we're thinking about him, and I'll may try to stop in, beat him over the head with a golf club or something to get him back on the right track. But thank you, Madam Chairman.
All right. Mr. Swift, thank you really for corralling these men into this photograph, because if you were in the room, I promise you, these men were not like, oh, please take a picture. You know, it wasn't like that at all. And but it is nice to have, and it's a really good historical, and they're all smiling in the photograph. If you can see, probably because 3 of them are retired. Doug didn't know what he's in for, but
I was still smiling.
I think that they all just had lunch, but really and truly thank you. And Mr. Duckworth, thank you so much for the work that you've done with the Master Board, because that really is something that I think we all look forward to every year. And your presentations are truly entertaining, so we like it when the fog is rising, and to a degree. There could be 5 new gold medal winners. Yes, indeed. But it really is a significant evening because of the passage of the contract that we have with the BAC. That is very significant, and I'm proud to be sitting up here as a member of the board who ensured that got into the contract, and we've really come so far when I think about the collective bargaining 10 years ago when some of us first got on the board. It's amazing how far that we've come, and I'm just very proud that we were able to pass that tonight. Happy holidays to everyone. I hope that you're able to spend time with those whom you love, and I hope that you have a very safe and prosperous holiday season and new year. Mr. Superintendent.
I do have a few comments this evening, so if you'll bear with me, I will move quickly. But there's been a lot happening in the last few weeks. John Klenovic and I finished our world tour.
Oh.
We have successfully visited all 20 sites, I believe, that have the partnership and performance councils. So we did that between October and the end of November. It was very productive, insightful, hopefully for the committees as well as for us. Immediately after the new year, Mr. Zipf and I began a new world tour, and we will be visiting the support PPC sites. Additionally, this past week, I started a sequence of 21 visits with school faculties. And my goal is to simply walk in, sit down in a stool in front of the teachers and say, what questions do you have? What do you want to know? And just have an open discussion on any issues that may come to mind. I met with the Charlotte High School faculty last week, and the time flew by. There wasn't really enough time to even get into some of the things that I wanted to talk about, but I think we talked about the things that they did. I did get an email or two as follow-up. A couple of teachers had questions they didn't get a chance to ask, so I responded by email. I do want to congratulate our high schools on their grades, 2 A's and a B. And as you can imagine, Mr. Dionisio is not happy, even with the fact that they did have the highest score of the 3 schools and went up in a number of areas as far as their history, especially in the 8 categories when they went back and tracked their prior performance. The sticking point for Port Charlotte High School was the bottom 25th percentile reading. They needed to hit 50%. They got to 49%, which was really about a half dozen kids needed to make adequate progress. So they are diligently working on that for this coming year. But our congratulations to them. That accomplishment also reflected well on the district. We are an all A and B district, and pleased but not satisfied with that as we move forward. I also want to recognize, as we did earlier, the AP teachers. And I think there's a place to recognize all of the teachers who had those kids along the way, because the kids who pass those AP exams don't suddenly get smart or know a lot or learn a lot in 1 year. So K through 12 I tip my hat to our teachers who've done a great job of really preparing our kids. So that's a pat on the back, not just to the AP teachers, but to all of our teachers. Our overall standing in the state of Florida remains extremely high. We rank 4th in the state of Florida, and the top 4, we're all very, very close. Actually, the top 5 are very close.
Santa Rosa again.
Santa Rosa, our nemesis. A couple of other counties, but we did very, very well. I have not seen where Florida stands overall in the nation. Last year, Florida ranked 4th, which makes our top 4, if they are anywhere near where they were last year, that much more impressive. So I tip my hat to our teachers. Going to the picture that, yes, we reluctantly gathered, although we had fun talking with each other. In contrast, in a former work experience I had, in that same 30-year period, I worked under 15 superintendents and interim superintendents during that same 30 years. So the stability is genuinely helpful. It really is. Had an opportunity to meet with the Academic Integrity Council or group. Dr. Widmeyer, April Prestipino coordinate that group. And technically, it's mine as superintendent. I show up and listen and try to encourage, but Donna and April really help coordinate that group. The schools each rotate paying lunch for all of the kids. And I would say there was, about 30 kids, middle and high school. Very impressive kids they're genuinely committed to keeping in the forefront of their peers' minds the importance of personal integrity and being honest in work completion and the taking of tests, to decry the practice of cheating, plagiarism. And they've done all kinds of terrific things. They've made videos. They have the rubber wristbands that talk about integrity. They have created PowerPoints. They have one 8th grade girl at Murdoch has created a web page that goes on the school web page. Really, really great stuff. And so I again tip my hat not only to those teachers but to the school leaders who support that movement. It's really encouraging to see the kids who are really committed to being a role model, and a source of information for their peers. Going to our contract, and I thank John and Bobby for their words, and particularly Barb and Chuck Briner and Greg Reiner, that rhymes, for their work in the bargaining sessions. Sometimes bargaining's just plain hard work, even in the interest-based process. In fact, I would say in a way it's harder because you have all of the voices in the room that need to be heard. In a traditional bargaining, 2 people talked. Chief negotiator for each side. That was it. But the efforts, I think, were rewarded with a really good contract. I'm pleased we were able to provide something to our employees. They've worked extremely hard under very difficult circumstances these past 4 years, and have stepped up and with fewer people and fewer resources increase the level of student learning in our district. And that's as much on the support side as it is on the teacher side. The key to the success of our Budget Advisory Committee, and I think it's a terrific idea, the key is going to be trust and transparency. We have good trust. I would like to see that become great trust. We have good transparency. I would like to see total transparency, and we'll get there. We're off to a good start. But we collectively, those of us that are involved in that, and I am staying involved on that as part of the BAC. I just see high levels of commitment from everybody in that group to really make this work and to be honest and straightforward. So my thanks go to all of you who have been very active and involved in that. As you know, 'tis the season. 'Tis the season of luncheons and special events. I feel like the fatted goose being prepared for Christmas these days. But it's fun. You know, people get together and we do lunch together, which we usually don't do. Most of us grab lunch at our desk and keep working. But we've had some really fun luncheons. There have been some really nice community events and luncheons. It's been a pleasure, my privilege to be a part of that. In addition to that, I've had the privilege of going to the Port Charlotte Chorus presentation, listening to the group tonight, and then other choruses from Port Charlotte High. It was a delightful evening. The Lemon Bay L.A. Angel Band concert last week, remarkable. For a middle school band, I would have passed it off as a high school band. They're that good. And 70-some members in the 8th grade band, hopefully ready to move into the Lemon Bay band, well prepared. I was at the Charlotte High and Punta Gorda Middle School band concert, Prism, which was wonderful. Very different. Very, very different. I thought Prism was just like the name of the band or something, but it's a actual kind of performance that highlights the subsections of the bands, the flutes, the brass, the percussion, the woodwinds, and as well as then the full band. And it was terrific. I was impressed with Whitney's crew. They didn't just have to turn the microphones on and have the stage lights. They were spotlighting the groups that were peppered all over the auditorium. Great performance on everybody's part. And when we leave here tonight, I'll be going to the Port Charlotte High School band, and that's at Murdoch Baptist Church down the road for anybody who's interested in going. I also went out and had a dinner with our students at Crossroads last Wednesday, and that was a delightful evening. It really was. There was a group of men there from the Punta Gorda Methodist Church who provided pizza for the boys. I forgot how much pizza 14, 15-year-old young men can eat. It was really amazing. But they literally enjoyed, they being the boys that are there, enjoyed telling their story, how they got there, but better yet, where they're going and how they're going to get to where they're going. And the 5 that sat at our table had a plan. They were going back to high school, what they were going to do after high school. Some of it was military service, some was career and tech training, and some was college. But they all had a plan. They knew exactly how they were going to get from where they are to where they were going to go. And I thought that was really terrific. I believe that's it. I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Holidays to everyone.
Thank you. And if there is no further business to come before the board, this meeting is adjourned.